and you're not going to be free. You didn't even know you were a prisoner. The whole galaxy thinks of you, this entire planet, as a planet of zombies.
Tra i numerosi contributi e interviste che abbiamo visionato, ne abbiamo trovata una che, pur essendo meno autorevole rispetto ad altre, merita comunque di essere analizzata e discussa. Si tratta di un'intervista ad un professore universitario statunitense, il dottor Courtney Brown, un personaggio controverso che parla ovviamente senza portare prove. Conosciuto anche per essere a capo di una grande associazione di chiaroveggenti, o, come si usa dire in inglese, remote viewers, chiamata Farsight. Secondo quanto afferma lui stesso, la sua associazione sarebbe la più vasta organizzazione di questo tipo negli Stati Uniti. Naturalmente va sottolineato che i corsi proposti dall'associazione sono disponibili solo a pagamento. Nell'intervista il professore offre una sintesi della situazione, che troviamo condivisibile al 98%. Condivide concetti e analisi che risultano coerenti con molte delle fonti più autorevoli a cui ci rifacciamo abitualmente. Ma cosa non condividiamo? La parte della sua analisi con cui non siamo d'accordo, o che almeno ci appare forzata, riguarda ciò che il professore definisce come la Terra prigione. Inoltre il professor Brown sostiene di filmare incontri con entità extraterrestri e afferma che gli alieni sono presenti in carne ed ossa. Tuttavia, nelle registrazioni pubblicate gli alieni non sono mai visibili, sollevando dubbi sulla sua credibilità e rendendolo un personaggio estremamente controverso. Riguardo alla Terra come prigione, secondo lui, le nostre anime sarebbero incarcerate qui per qualche sorta di punizione cosmica. Egli spiegherà che alcune anime si trovano sulla Terra in esilio perché non avrebbero pagato le tasse in altre parti dell'universo o perché sarebbero prigionieri politici. Questa interpretazione, pur affascinante, ci sembra eccessivamente speculativa e priva di fondamenti, almeno in base a ciò che ci è noto oggi. In particolare l'idea di estendere il concetto di tasse, tipicamente umano, legato alla nostra società, a civiltà extraterrestri o ad altre dimensioni dell'universo, ci sembra un esercizio di immaginazione che non ha basi solide. Il motivo appare piuttosto antropocentrico e potrebbe semplicemente riflettere la proiezione di concetti umani su qualcosa che per definizione va oltre il nostro campo conoscitivo. Se si fosse limitato a dire che la Terra potrebbe essere una prigione in senso più fisico o pratico, avremmo trovato questa visione più sensata e interessante da approfondire. Tuttavia, questa estensione del concetto di colpa o debito di non aver pagato le tasse ci sembra slegata e forzata. Detto questo, riteniamo che il resto del discorso e delle analisi presentate dal professore siano coerenti con le informazioni e le testimonianze ben più solide a cui ci rifacciamo regolarmente. Molti degli spunti che offre risultano complementari a quanto emerso da più fonti autorevoli, rendendo buona parte della sua spiegazione plausibile e, a nostro giudizio, utile per comprendere meglio la situazione globale. La risposta a questa domanda è parte del nostro approccio metodologico. Ascoltiamo tutte le testimonianze che riteniamo abbiano un senso. Il nostro obiettivo è capire il fenomeno, non limitare il campo di indagine a ciò che è mainstream, ma ampliare lo spettro delle possibilità per costruire una comprensione più ampia e sfaccettata dei fenomeni in questione. Il nostro metodo dunque è diverso da quello degli scettici professionisti che esaminano ogni affermazione con l'unico obiettivo di smontarla, catalogarla come errata o ridicolizzarla. Noi invece ascoltiamo per capire. Ci sforziamo di ridurre il nostro bias cognitivo, non di rinforzarlo. Consideriamo testimonianze diverse, anche apparentemente meno accreditate, senza scartarle a priori, nella consapevolezza che ogni individuo, professionista o meno, possa offrire un contributo utile alla comprensione generale del fenomeno. Dobbiamo capire che può verificarsi che personalità autorevoli, magari cadute nell'oblio, esprimono opinioni non supportate da fatti concreti, a causa ad esempio di un'inconscia aspirazione a riconquistare la visibilità e il prestigio di cui godevano in passato. Ma allo stesso tempo è possibile che individui considerati ignoranti e maleducati possano esprimere idee o compiere azioni significative. Due esempi emblematici sono Luc Montagnier, premio Nobel, che ha fatto dichiarazioni errate e mai supportate da prove sul Covid-19, e Kary Mullis, Un altro premio Nobel, l'inventore della tecnica PCR, Polymerase Chain Reaction, ampiamente utilizzata in tutto il mondo, che all'epoca era noto per il suo stile di vita controverso, drogato, donnaiolo, con un carattere così difficile da essere malvisto da tutti i suoi colleghi. Ciò suggerisce che una delle motivazioni che ci porta a pubblicare questa intervista è che la realtà non è sempre riducibile a categorizzazioni semplicistiche come bianco o nero, come invece sostengono gli scettici professionisti. Quando si conducono indagini dovremmo ascoltare tutte le prospettive. Questo approccio consente di acquisire una comprensione più completa e sfumata della realtà, evitando di cadere nella trappola di giudizi sommari e ingiustificati. Un'altra motivazione per cui pubblichiamo questa intervista è che al netto della teoria della Terra come prigione e degli alieni che non si vedono mai, il resto dell'analisi del professore risulta molto coerente con quanto già sappiamo da fonti più autorevoli, aggiungendo alcune informazioni che oggi non possiamo verificare, ma che offrono una visione più dettagliata, oltre a un utile riassunto della situazione attuale. Il professore esprime concetti chiave con un'efficacia che riteniamo meritevole di condivisione. Infine, pur giudicando la teoria della prigione come meno convincente, ci poniamo comunque una domanda importante. E se avesse ragione lui? Chi siamo noi per censurarlo? La possibilità che le sue idee, per quanto estranee al nostro modo di concepire le cose, nascondano una realtà che non comprendiamo appieno, non può essere esclusa a priori. Riteniamo quindi sia nostra responsabilità non chiudere alcuna porta, continuare ad ascoltare e mantenere una mente aperta senza mai scartare qualcosa solo perché sembra improbabile o fuori dagli schemi.
Was guided by extraterrestrials. Until January of 2022, we kept totally secret on this, but we have been having active interactions with extraterrestrials for a very long time, with me going back to when I was a kid. And these are not things I would think about in a groggy state, in a hypnagogic state. These are like this people that I'm with, that are with us, and we have regular meetings. I've been interacting with them for a very long time in these secret locations. At their insistence, they have insisted that we start recording these things and putting them on social media. It was not our idea. They insisted. They actually told us the seating arrangements, how it should be done, the cameras, how they wanted it positioned, they did all types of stuff to tell us how they wanted it. They wanted nothing to be hidden. One fundamental aspect to working with the extraterrestrials, they absolutely insist that humans have to understand their composite nature, that the physical body is not who they are. The physical body is just nothing. It's like some clothing that you're wearing, and that you're actually inside that. This planet is being run as a prison by a group of extraterrestrials who they oppose. I call the ones that we work with the good guys, the good ETs, and the bad ones. They have written agreements with the United States government, and apparently a few other governments, to allow them to operate here on Earth, basically operating a huge, absolutely huge human trafficking operation. They're not interested in the gold or the minerals or the plant life. They want the people. And they want the beings that are inside the people, which are what we call isbis, someone who is for the purpose of being. Other people call it soul, spirit, which is just stupid because they're trying to prove that they have a soul. And everybody in the universe says, what the heck are you talking about? You are the soul. Telling us you're your body is like telling us you're your shirt. Now, you cannot kill an isbi. You cannot kill a person. Period. No one, to my knowledge, no one in the universe has figured out how to kill an isbi. However, you can trap an isbi, you can lie to an isbi, you can deceive an isbi, you can do anything, you can do all types of crazy things to an isbi, but you can't kill an isbi. So that's what they do. The bad ETs, they lie through their teeth. And the agreements that they signed with the U.S. government, those agreements, the indication was it was going to be some small scale human trafficking type of stuff with people who had mental issues. They were sick, terminally ill, and small numbers of people. They lied through their teeth. It scaled up to be millions and millions and millions of people. And humans have been caught in this system. This is operating literally as a prison where people can't get out. When people die, they see the light. You've heard that story a zillion times. They get drawn to the light. It's like a really strong magnetic pull, And then when they get to the light, they're zapped with an electric bolt that's way more voltage than lightning. They're totally rattled. They lose their remote viewing capability, their telepathy capability. That's normal means of communication throughout the entire galaxy. And they lose that. And then an AI comes in. It's all computerized. An AI comes in and says, we've been talking about your case with the Council of Elders. You see the Council of Elders over there? Yeah, you're a very important person, the Council of Elders. And we think that, remember that argument you had with your son or daughter and your grandmother or whatever? We think there's a couple wrinkles in your personality you need to work on. Now, with no memory, been rattled, no telepathy, no remote viewing capability, you inevitably say, sounds good to me. And that cycles you back in the system. This is a psychological prison. It's not held with bars and cement and things like that in a physical prison that we have here. It's a psychological prison. So if the psychology is broken, the prison gets broken down. The good ETs, the ones we work with, they consider everybody on Earth as their friends and relatives who were taken from them like zillions of years ago and placed here. This is also a repository for bad people. That's why we have so many crazy criminals that are pedophiles, that are perverts and things like that, that violent people. Bad people get thrown here as well. But they also, because once you get in here, you can't get out, and it just keeps them out of the system. And so but you also have the vast majority of everybody are just people who were, thrown here. Maybe they didn't pay their taxes. Maybe they did a wink to somebody's daughter, and it was a powerful bureaucrat. Somebody, maybe for whatever reason, they were political opponents. They were running in the guerrilla groups. They were opposing the authoritarian groups. Whatever happened, they get put here. And it's a prison that sort of keeps everybody here. And because they don't have remote viewing or or natural telepathic capabilities, they can't see out of it, and they don't know that. So the ETs that are up there, you've heard a zillion reports. Everybody who's interacted with an extraterrestrial, they all say the same thing. They speak telepathically. That's how they communicate. They
Yeah.
do not use English. They do not move their mouth and have sounds come out and then listen to their ears. They all communicate perfectly well with telepathy. They worked with us for years. And again, they didn't want to put any focus on it. They didn't want it to be public because they had a lot of stuff to do with a lot of remote viewers. They had to teach us how to see them. They had to teach us how to be able to talk with them, how to be able to communicate, how to have board meetings, and we all pick up whatever they say. And then they had to develop the library. The advanced remote viewing procedures that were originally developed, they were originally started with the U.S. military, but the ones that we use now are like way different. They were the ones who guided us to develop those things. I tried to do it myself as a professor in a major university. I thought I was a smart guy. I couldn't make heads or tails out of it. I couldn't figure out how to improve the original military ones. And then they helped us, and they said, do this, do that, try this, try that. Now we have zillions of procedures that do everything from technology transfer to social and political protocols. I mean, it's a huge body of work. Some of them we use publicly, but we haven't had a chance yet to show publicly all the rest of them. But anyway, they really helped with all of that. Now, come around these things. They've been telling us that something's coming and that we had to prepare for the longest time. Chris, it's been going on for years now, and we've been tremendously frustrated. Not as frustrated as they are because they've been waiting for thousands of years for us to get to this point, to break the prison. It's to break this big of a prison apparently has never been done in the galaxy before. You have like 8 billion humans in bodies, and then you have how many, 30, 40 billions outside in the system waiting to get into bodies. So, I mean, it's a huge body of ISBEs. And now the bad ETs, they're authoritarian, they're totalitarian, they have these written agreements. And you don't have to believe me. You Google Haim Ashed. He's the former CEO of the Israeli Space Director, that's the Israeli version of NASA, for 30 years. And he's also a decorated general, and he's now a college professor. He said on the record in an interview that he thought he was going to get away with because it was in Hebrew, in a Hebrew publication. But it turned out that lots of people know Hebrew, and it was immediately translated into a zillion languages and published immediately. He was the one who said there are written agreements with the U.S. government and so on. He also said that Donald Trump knows about the extraterrestrials and was going to actually release it, but he was told not to release it, so he didn't do it. We'll wait to see what happens when he becomes president again after January 20th. But the basic idea is that what we're doing now is independent of whoever becomes president. But so it's not like Donald Trump's going to save us. And then hopefully that the plan is people will listen. And then they will finally, then we can talk literally to the whole planet and say, guys, this is a prison. It's being run by those ETs over there who have written agreements with those politicians over there. And you're not going to be free. You didn't even know you were a prisoner. The whole galaxy thinks of you, this entire planet, as a planet of zombies. What is a zombie? A zombie's lost its memory and goes around hurting people and beating people up and eating people and killing people. They're crazy people, and at the same time, they don't remember anything. So you can have a zombie relative, and the zombie relative doesn't remember who you are and is going to eat you and hurt you and so on like that. They consider this whole planet memory-free zombies.
Mm.
And how do you wake up a zombie? The psychological controls that the bad ETs use have been developed like over 1 million years. It's really good. They're good at this type of thing. They know how to do it. That's why it's so effective. And that's why it's taking such a big effort for the good ETs to, we're actually trying to cause a revolution by waking up an entire planet of zombies. You know how, you realize how hard it is? You have to wake up people who are totally brain dead. We've been showing people how to take video recordings on demand of UFOs. Now, these are the bad ETs. They all use stealth tech. So it has to be an infrared and it has to be at 120 frames per second. On the November 13th, they said, you're not going to need those cameras anymore. Any camera will work. We're not going to use any stealth tech, and we're going to come out in huge numbers in drones. And not they didn't know they don't like the word drones. And small ships were going to be all over the place, and it's going to start like right away. So 13th it happened, 15th we published, at 18th it actually started. The so-called bad ETs have the political people totally locked up, and my side, the good ETs, they have absolutely no contact with the political elite. They've been locked out of the media. They've been locked out of the political elite. They've been approaching it from the level of the masses. And so the authoritarian bad ETs, they work on a top-down approach, from the top going down. And then the bad ETs really manipulate everything like a puppet on a string. The good ETs being locked out at the top, the reason is the bad ETs offered weapons tech. And when the bad ETs offered to help reverse engineer crashed UFOs, the U.S. government bought it. They said, we need that tech. But they wanted the weapons tech, and they were willing to live with whatever the bad ETs were doing, including that huge trafficking situation, human trafficking situation. So the good ETs weren't willing to give them the tech. But there is a Cold War now between the good ETs and the bad ETs. The good ETs are militarily dominant in the solar system, but they are what I call free will fanatics. That's my side. I know it sounds sort of free will fanatics, but they won't do anything unless you agree to it. And the U.S. government signed agreements with the other side saying that they can do what they want. So the only way they can reverse that is by having the masses rise up and then overthrow those written agreements that the U.S. government has with the bad ETs. And remember, Haim Mashed, I mean, I've known about those agreements through a number of sources, but Haim Mashed is on record as talking about these written agreements. So it's really not in dispute. Now, this is a war. This is a war. By the way, the Cold War between the two sides is going to turn into a hot war. So you are eventually going to see the ETs shooting at each other. And that will, just like you're seeing the drones or the ships flying around now, you're going to see them shooting at each other eventually. But that hasn't happened yet. It's still a Cold War situation. So they want to have some level of organization to this. That's why these waves are being created, wave after wave. Every month there's a new wave, and we tell what's going to happen. We get the board meeting, we tell what's going to happen, we publish it, and then it happens, and we do another one a month later, a month later, a month later, until we get the sense that around June, July of 2025, most of it'll be done. And then by the time we get to June, July 2025, this all makes sense. That's the idea. And the good ETs will not be seen as an invading force. This will be seen as the good guys, the cavalry. And then you get a free will decision by the masses to align themselves with the good ETs, and then the good ETs can take out the bad ETs. But then it's a free will choice. The zombies have to be woken up, and then they have to say, we choose to work with those guys. The government's been working with those ones. We don't like those. These ones are the good guys. They rescued us and they gradually showed us who they were. They did the disclosure process. They're obviously telling the truth. The government telling the lies. And then you get a free will choice by the masses to align to the good ETs. And then the good ETs have the criteria that they need to intervene. Remember, they have the military capability to handle the bad ETs, but they can't do it without the humanity signing off on it. That's the plan.